Hello everyone, welcome to A Foreigner Farming in the Philippines. Yet another change of plan because Tatay says we don't have any straight bamboo. So we're back to the original plan, which is just putting screen. This is just window screen. It's not metal. It's a nylon plastic screen. And so I'm not a big fan of stapling it on there, but it'll work. My only thing is that the staples will eventually rust. But it's getting it done. I just want this in the water. I just want it to go. We've been, I don't know, a long time on these nets. I just want it done. I want it in the water. And we're going to get it in the water today. The net is complete because it's rolled up down at the end of the pond, but Tatay and E-Boy are not here. So I'm going to gather up the duckweed that's going to be transferred and take it down there, and if Tatay and E-Boy are not back, then I will set the net in the pond. Need to do something with this. I need to make a bigger harvest scoop than what I've got here. This is fine for the round tank, sort of, but I need something bigger and with a slightly longer handle. But something with a bigger head on it, and that's a little finer. You can see that this is fairly large. A lot of the duckweed goes out of this strainer. I need something like a screen strainer. So, and about twice this big, and with a 2 foot longer handle. And I will endeavor to make that happen. But for now, it won't take long. I'll get this duckweed out of here and get it down there and see about getting the net in the pond. Alright, so it's going in. I've got the duckweed here. I've got this trash can about half full. I think that will be plenty to put in this net. You can see we're probably going to have to put in like one small stone, like, you know, maybe half the size of your fist in each corner on a string, just hanging in and down to sink this net. Maybe one out in the center, one small stone in the center, and I think that will be sufficient. We shall see. Okay, so there it is. I've put it in. the duckweed that is. And well, the fish don't know that it's there yet, so there's not even an attempt to get to it from the outside. As you can see, some of it's a little more densely packed than others. My estimate was that this would be enough to completely fill this cage, but a thin coverage, and I think it was pretty close. It will how do you put it, disperse itself. It will unstack as the minutes drag on here. I'm going to help it along. I'm going to get a stick and stir it around a bit. This will be ready to start harvesting out of tomorrow. Tata and E-Boy are setting in the second net, so I'm going to go up and get another trash can full to set in. I should probably clean this out. It's hard to explain and make it clear. So look, I removed enough duckweed out of this crayfish tank here to completely cover that first net that we have out there. And so I'm going to remove enough again to do the same thing. And as you can see, it's still 100% coverage in here. So it's hard to explain how this duckweed stacks in upon itself. It just keeps, you wouldn't think that it would, but it'll be, I don't know, 3 or 4 layers deep out there and still growing and doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm very confident that I'll be able to get enough out of this to fill the second net, and it will still be 100% coverage out there, because duckweed is just good stuff. I can tell by how fast it folds back in on itself and clears up the path when I cut it through to harvest it. I can tell by how fast it goes back in on itself to close that hole that I just made, how thick it is, and it's thick. I haven't taken any out of it. This is the 3rd day in anticipation of filling these nets. So for 3 days I did not remove any and give to the fish. This is the 3rd day, so 2 days I did not take anything out. Okay, so got that full, mostly full, and you just start seeing the tiniest little gaps in it. So I'm going to call that good. I'm going to put this in the net, and then I'll be able to harvest out of all 3 of them tomorrow and start giving it to the fish in the proper amounts. I like it. Okay, so the second net is in, and it's about half the size of that first one. This one is only, I don't know, it's one width, so it's like 7 feet by 20, and that one is probably more like, I don't know, 18 by 18, I'm guessing. 15 by 15, something like that. That one holds twice as much as this one, I would guess, almost. So I want to show you guys something, and the reason that we're going through this process to put the screen in as a feeding guard. I don't know if you can hear it. I can hear it. But maybe if I can steady this up some, you can see those little assholes over there taking that duckweed through this black net. And that's, you know, it's the same as this, and that's a pretty fine mesh. It's like, you know, 1/8 by 1/4 inch. But that duckweed is also pretty small, so they can get it. They can manipulate it, the side of that net, just, you know, by going against it like this, and that they'll eventually work out a piece of that duckweed, and that's what they're doing. So there's one little corner there, obviously, where it's not down all the way, and they're having a little feast there. So that has to be fixed, because they'll tell all their friends, and they'll be continuously feeding right there in that corner. As far as I can tell, it looks like that's the only, I don't know, breach, I guess you could say. The rest of it is looking just fine. No unwanted activity. So Tata and E-Boy do not have the screen net in this second cage yet, and that's what they're going to endeavor to put in now. And as soon as they do that, I will add this bucket of duckweed, and we'll all be done for the day. Alright, so there's the second net with the duckweed in it. What can you say, Tate? Nice?
We add maybe 2 bucks.
At least one more there, and maybe 1 or 2 more on the other side.
This net partition is very of a single box like this.
Say again?
That net, the partition.
Yeah, we can take it down now and use it. Either one. I mean, that net, that partition net, and this long one also, we can use those to make more of these boxes with. The real test is going to be whether or not they can manipulate this double, because this is just the black net doubled. It's not like that one over there where it's the black net with window screen. This is just doubled black net. So it's going to remain to be seen whether or not they can manipulate this enough to get the duckweed out. If they can, then we're going to have to buy more window screen and put that around in the future nets. Well, we'll eventually have to replace this one as well, but at least we'll know, because we already have this black net. If we can,
they have a gap.
There's a gap?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will see. Hopefully that's all we need. It's just the black net doubled, and so we don't have to purchase more of that screen, because everything is about money on this farm. So it's full now, and so when I come out in the morning, if it's not, well, it's, you know, there's a few little gaps back in there, but when I come out, and I say in the morning, but it's noontime when I'm going to be harvesting the duckweed to feed to the fish in the nets there. So if it's not like completely filled in noontime tomorrow, then I know that they're eating it faster than it's growing. And same thing with that one over there. There's a few little patches that the duckweed didn't 100% expand into, but it's like 99%. And same thing, it should grow enough overnight to where it's full. And I could probably take out a gallon bucket out of this one, at least a gallon bucket out of this every day, and almost maybe a 3/4 of a gallon bucket out of that one, and I can still get a gallon bucket plus whatever that red bucket is. I think they're bigger than a gallon. Maybe it's a gallon and a half. I'd like to get a red bucket's worth out of this and the round tank. It might only work out that I get a red bucket's worth out of both of these combined in the round tank, but at least that'll be a start, because I'm way behind. You know, all this was a trial, was an experiment to see how much of a savings we could realize from the duckweed, and I'm a month behind. I've been feeding those in the first box for about a month, not enough, and all of them, but the longest in the first box. And so while we will get numbers, they won't be 100% accurate on any except for that last box that we put in, the last bunch. So, but we'll get close. The amount that if they had been having the proper amount of duckweed all this time, it would only amount to about 15% of their total intake before harvest. And so it won't be that much of a difference. We'll still be able to extrapolate moving forward whether or not the duckweed is going to be a big enough savings. Stay tuned. You guys are on this journey as well as we are. And the combination, the byproduct of this is that on hot sunny days, they will also shade the water. Because there have been some of these days that have been, you know, today's kind of different. It's cloudy and overcast. It's often cloudy and overcast now. But there's a lot of days when it's direct sun. And when it's direct sun on this pond, because we've taken the vast majority of the trees down around it, it can get pretty toasty in there. So now that we have the duckweed, that's 100% shade right there on that much of the pond. And I would eventually like to cover most of this side in duckweed. We shall see. Thank you, everyone. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.